All right, this is the Conference Committee on House Bill 141, the fiscal year 25 Budget Adjustment Act. I think it's the 27th today.
It is.
All day today, I think. And we met this morning. This is our second meeting of this committee, and then we're going to hear from the House conferees on suggestions that you may have.
Okay. Yes. So I'm just thinking about the order in which to do this. So I have some things to propose. We have some things to propose that we want to give you, not to get an answer tonight, but maybe sleep on it, and then we can talk about it this morning. Oh gosh. It's been a long day. Tomorrow morning, and then some other things that we think we can
Close out, okay.
Um,
Want to close
So
things?
we're going to do the close, Alice,
Yeah.
do the close things first. Well, some of these are interrelated to the other things. So we agree about the Emergency Personnel Survivors Benefit Fund. In fact, was that at one point in the big bill and we moved it to this, or was it, we just learned that there were 2 or 3 people that needed the,
Treasurer had presented it to us. I don't know if it was also in the governor's budget or not. It wasn't.
okay. But that is.
Which line? Oh, that's line.
That's line 7. So that was fine to close that. Oh, yes, thank you. I do skip those little ones. The PTT allocation, we understand what was going on with that, and maybe now it'll be fixed once and for all. So let's close that one if everybody's good with that. The technical changes to the hub and spoke pilot on line 13. As I understand it, we took out, there was a year, it was an end date, and instead of using the end date, it's until the money runs out. So that makes.
We don't have to extend it again.
Exactly. So that, we're fine with that. Line 14, the JFO appropriation, good to go.
Didn't have open there, so we have to open and close it.
We do get to grade that out. The Human Services Caseload Reserve, we understand what you were thinking of. It's going to be in session law for FY 25. I expect we will be addressing it again for FY 26 and figuring out how best to do it, but we understand your reasoning and are willing to accept just having it for FY 25.
That's line 7.
Line 16 and 17,
Both
both of them.
Okay.
But I expect we'll see more again in the 26 budget. Heads up.
Okay.
Line 18 is the alternative language funding, and I know, Trevor, that's been your area, and you're comfortable with what they're doing there.
Yeah, there was a phrase that was tacked on the end that was more clarifying. Fine with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got that from our institutions committee.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, so let's close line 18. And the report to the stabilization grant eligibility, was that kind of your area, Tiff? I think it also was more accountability and clarifying what was going on, and we're all for accountability. Okay. So all the others are related to the things I would like to hand out.
Okay.
This is, we need a shorter table. We can take them. I think after our next conference committee, we'll find another room.
Yeah.
And the poor folks who have to reorganize this room, it really wasn't designed for this. So anyway, we'll deal with that later. So we got to thinking about this. We support the need for positions in the Human Rights Commission and in the Attorney General's office. What we thought, though, was that they aren't actually going to have somebody on board by April 1st. Realistically speaking, it has to go through human resources and they have to interview, et cetera. So we simply are recommending that we put in money for 2 months worth for May and June. And then obviously in the big bill, it would be for the full year. So that's for you to ponder.
That's for the Attorney General.
And the Human Rights Commission. So we aren't changing the number of positions or the positions, just the number of months we think they will actually be in their positions. So they'd start up by May 1st.
Just looking at
You had them starting April 1st.
Right.
We just don't think that's realistic.
Okay.
So it saves a little bit of money.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one thing to ponder, and then this is, okay. Well, we have lots of, I'll put those over there. No, he's got them. Okay, somehow we have a lot of extra copies of these, but that's okay. Better than not having enough. So there's a few things in here. We agree with the notion of using the money to help the municipalities, the 1.8 million, and then also using some of the money for the 3 positions that we talked about. But what we were less comfortable with was taking the entire 6 million.
Okay.
So what we're proposing is to revert the 2 million, which we need for the specific programs, and keep the other 4 million at the treasurer's office, at least for now, for the FY25 Budget Adjustment Act. So those are sort of all intertwined, right? So these all say that we would agree with the positions and we agree with the funding for the grants. And we also just think we just need to take the 2 million, which is what we need for those things.
Okay.
So that's for you to think about.
Okay. Makes
Page 2, I'm sorry. We liked having the notwithstanding language for the carry forward in the budget adjustment that is reserved for permanent housing, property tax relief, and any other uses determined to be in the best interest of the public. But we also recognize that not having an amount in there that we're talking about leaves it a bit maybe too squishy. So what we're proposing is saying up to 150 million, otherwise subject to the requirements, will be instead reserved for the permanent housing, et cetera. So it isn't a blank check. It's got a little fence around it. And that the budget as it stands is somewhere around the 133.7 million now, I think, approximately.
Basically you added up to 150 million.
Right.
Same.
Exactly. Otherwise, the language is the same, but we thought if we put a box around it, that would clarify it and
Okay.
be taken care of that way. So that's another thing for you to ponder. And then the last one is clearer language about the SNAP and the vouchers. And you might recall this morning when we talked about the vouchers, Rep. Bloomley recognized that we needed to do the federal fiscal year, not the, and at the same time, so now we have it in red so you can see what the actual changes are.
Okay.
It's a little clearer. So it says for the remainder of federal fiscal year 2025, program participants, and then adding that number 2, ensuring the program participants are not accruing any time. This has been vetted with DCF and they are fine with this language.
Okay. That's easy to understand.
Okay. So I think that, and then effective dates will happen based on whatever we do with all these things. Or well, not really. So I think we have addressed, well, so we agreed to the flood impacted communities and expanding ERAF to the 2024 disasters. So that's so those 2 are lines 5 and 8.
Right. So it's still the 1.6.
Right.
Okay.
And then the advance payment to municipalities, which is line 8. And then the other things are related to the stuff we gave you, so that I'm not suggesting we close 9, 10, or 11 yet. Oh, and then down on line 20, the other flood abatement hold harmless payment.
The abatements.
The abatement of $1 million. I did check with our chair of House Ways and Means since it affects that fund, and they were fine with having it show up in this bill. So we're happy to close on that one.
Okay, good. We'll close that. So if I'm following correctly, it's 1, 3, 4, 9, 10, and 11 that are still open?
Yes, and then 22, but yes.
Okay. We will take a closer look at this, just to take a look.
Yep.
reasonable here. So we'll take a look at them and then we can meet again in the morning. Plus, do you have any questions, Senator Lyons or Senator Brock, about these proposals? Okay,
I think we're scheduled for 9 o'clock tomorrow
9
morning
a.m.
in here.
Okay, and then we will hopefully be
Go from
able to
there.
sign.
In the early afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have to
Um,
go back and do their work, whatever.
Well, I wonder if we can try to sign before 11:30 when the Senate goes on the floor, so then we could bring the conference report to the floor and then have it voted on tomorrow. So if that's possible.
Yeah, so that one's not up to me.
Yeah.
I'm the person to look
I'm
at.
just telling you, that's something.
That would be a potential goal to,
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be something that would be good.
Okay.
We could do that.
Okay, so we can chat with JFO and see if that's reasonable or not.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how much work needs to happen between
Right.
me and getting something that's signed and to the Senate Secretary.
Yeah. Okay,
May or may not be
or
possible.
may not be, yeah, okay, we can look into that.
Yeah. And we could also, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.